So I'm level 100 on every survivor in Forsaken, and after playing Forsaken for a while, besides the point, I was thinking about something that I don't think many people considered. Who has the hardest tech in Forsaken? And how difficult are they in Forsaken? Sure, some characters have it easier than others, but some have to put in a little extra brain power to use techs to get out of situations that would normally not be possible without putting in countless hours to perfecting those techs, only to then look at another survivor who's just having a good, jolly old time, emoting in the corner while you're out there getting your ass kicked. And let me tell you, one wrong move and you just die. Anyways, let's get started with the video. And before we start this opinionated tier list, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. That helps a little channel like me, and thank you for watching. Now, let's get started with the video. So first, I'm going to go with the first character in the Survivor roster, which is Shaletsky. So in terms of hard techs for Shaletsky, he quite literally doesn't have much. He only has 3 noteworthy techs on paper. For one, he can gain resistance 2 for 1 second, which could save him in a fatal hit, but I honestly wouldn't count that as a tech. I mean, like, why would you even want to miss your slash when you could just hit the killer with the slash anyways? So I wouldn't count that, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to put it in. And his second tech is being able to slash while getting hit with entanglement by 1x, which of course is cool, but the obvious con is that, for one, if you do your slash early and you get hit by entanglement, then you won't be able to hit 1x, which of course you'll die. But if you don't space yourself correctly and you get hit by entanglement and you do the slash, you also just die. So yeah, gotta space that correctly. But by far the most useful tech is simply being a chud and eating chicken while Deuce is shielding you. That's honestly his most noteworthy tech, which is really useful, but the obvious risk is that the killer can simply switch to Deuce. But hey, at least you healed up. Your greed consumes you, Shaletsky. In terms of difficulty, he's not really hard, nor is he too easy. If you miss a slash, you can heal it back up. He's definitely a beginner-friendly Sentinel, and it can be really good in the right hands. For techs, I'll put him in B tier, simply because he has something going in terms of techs. It's not like the greatest thing, and it's not the hardest thing, but it is something. Oh, I just dropped my water bottle. Amazing. And in terms of difficulty, it's a C. Like, let's be real here. He's not too hard. I mean, there's still some things you kind of have to, get a grip with in terms of the character, but he's not really that difficult. So yeah, definitely going into C tier. Which, by the way, for difficulty, just because I have a character on a low tier doesn't mean that they're bad. I'm just saying, for the sake of the video, it's just difficulty. Anyways, moving on. Next up, we got Elliot. Next up is Noob. Honestly, he's pretty easy to play, and as far as techs go, he doesn't even have any. The only quote-unquote tech he has is using Slate Skin to run into minions. He has sandbagging, and he eats up dash abilities, again, using Slate Skin. I wouldn't call it a tech personally, but for the sake of the video, I'll just let it slide as a tech. In terms of how difficult Noob is, he's by far the easiest character to play, hence why he's the first character you play as when you play for Forsaken for the first time. So for difficulty, I'll put him in D tier. Again, Noob is not a bad character, it's just, for the sake of the video, he's just D tier in terms of difficulty. Now in terms of techs, it's a C. I mean, sure, him running into minions and sandbagging and eating dash abilities with Slay Skin is just one tech, but in terms of use, it is pretty useful. So yeah, so C for techs and D tier for difficulty. Next up, we got Jane Doe. Sadly, in terms of tech, she doesn't have anything going for her. So, D tier. In terms of her being difficult, however, she goes to C tier. She's not super hard, but not brain dead easy. But her kit is so easy to understand. Crystal hit killer, axe stun killer, monkey brain. Next survivor we got Builderman. In terms of attacks, he has one. He literally only has one tech, and that's being able to block dash moves, except for Sixer. But it's really risky, and most of the time, you're not wasting your ability to do something like this unless you're an LMS. But even then, it's super risky. In terms of difficulty, he sits in B simply because he's easy on paper, but in execution, he's pretty hard to play around simply because you can't protect yourself and have to rely on your teammates, which won't really happen that often. I guess. C for tech, and B for difficulty. Next up, we got 7 and 7. In terms of techs, this is quite interesting. He only has one, but it's something to master in order to use it at its full potential, and that's clone blocking / clone pairing. Clone blocking speaks for itself. You simply just have to clone yourself, follow your movement, and let the clone take the hits. If the move doesn't have a pierce effect, of course, characters like Slasher and Sixer, which in itself is hard when running away from a killer or looping the killer, but clone pairing is a different level of difficulty. If you pop a clone early, close to death, the killer can just wait for the clone to disappear and simply take you out then. So, reacting to the M1 of killers is important, because the moment you see their hitbox or their M1, you immediately pop a clone to waste the killer's time, giving you time to run away and gain back some stamina. Simply because of that, I'll be putting him in A tier for having a difficult tech, and A tier for being a bit difficult. He's easy when you don't have to interact with the killer, but obviously that's not always going to be the case. And you may be chased simply because 7-7 is really good during LMS, so you're gonna have to interact with the killer at some point. Next up, we got two-time techs range from being relatively average in terms of difficulty to being a bit hard. Let's start with something average. Trick stabbing. Now, don't get it twisted. Trick stabbing is tricky, and it can be difficult at first, but that's simply a learning curve, since most of the time you're going to be trick stabbing a killer anyways. Not all the time, obviously, but when you're getting chased, you're going to have to rely on trick stabbing. Another tech they have is backstabbing the killer the moment you get a second life. But this is so unlikely, and you're only doing this to be cool. Like, this is only if you want, like, a cool edit or something. But what answer the difficulty bar is dash stabbing and glide stabbing. Let's start with explaining what a dash stab is, if you don't know what it is. Dash stabbing is spacing yourself and the killer in a certain distance to simply use a crouch and stab. But of course, using a crouch stabbing and hitting the killer in the front isn't going to stun them, of course. So instead, you have to flip 2-time around, causing him to glide. But the takeaway is that 2-time's hitbox while gliding in this state causes their hitbox to drag with them, which means you could essentially do a backstab if you time the moment the hitbox hits the back of the killer. Stupid? Yeah. Does it look cool as hell? Yeah, it does. Glide stabbing is similar, but much easier to grasp. Still hard, of course, but it's easier than dash stabbing. For that, I'll be putting 2-time in S tier in terms of hard techs. Now, why aren't they in number 1? Well, simply because dash stabbing isn't really good in a sense that it's super risky. High risk, high reward. But you lose your ability to crouch if you miss. And if you miss, get ready to be sent back to the lobby because you're just gonna die. 2-time is extremely weak, so getting hit is already bad enough as is. Hardest character in Forsaken though, honestly, it's between 2-time and Guest. Come on now. You know I wasn't gonna show my boy some love. It's Guess. It's literally the character I main. Anyways, Guess 1337 is the character you play at the start and think you can do all the crazy stuff you see on socials and think, I can do that.
Nope.
Yeah, it's alright. I was there too. Guess texts are pretty hard, and after the rework that just released for him while making this script, thank you Forsaken, his text became almost mandatory in a sense. If you want to be crazy good with him, of course, same goes for 2-time, you know. The two main texts I really only need to discuss are drag blocking and reverse charging. If you're interested in more text with Guess, go and check out Chow's video on Guess text. It's a good watch and explains a bit more on the other texts that I won't be mentioning, simply because it's kind of like, whatever, it's irrelevant. But anyways, drag blocking is essentially reacting to the killer's hitbox after the M1 is in motion. Once you see the hitbox, you can do two things. Walk towards the hitbox and block to do a parry. Or you can do it while keeping yourself at a distance where you know the active hitbox will appear during a chase and parry it. Drag blocking is essential for Guess in order to play against killers that have a faster M1. Slasher, Cool Kid. Without it, he can go get straight up cooked. Like, straight up cooked. But to be fair, you'll get cooked if you miss the drag block anyways, so yeah, you either ride or die on drag blocking. The next tech is reverse charging. Reverse charging requires you to first charge the killer while looking towards the killer, then immediately flipping Guess the other direction while pushing the killer the same way you're looking while flipping Guess. It's a bit tricky, and it sounds a lot, but is super useful on slopes and could straight up reset chase sequences. It's really, really good. Easy S tier in terms of text, and for me, I think Guess is the hardest character in Forsaken. Biasy, I know. But to be fair, I think both Guess and 2-time are hard in their own way. Yes, Guess and 2-time get a lot of hate, but let's be real, they're both pretty hard. They're the sweaty characters in Forsaken. So I honestly put them together simply because their texts are pretty hard to do, and you can't always autopilot them, because they can just get cooked pretty easily. Moving on, we got Taff. Taff has two texts, and are both extremely useful. Is it hard? No, not at all. But is it still worth mentioning? Of course. His first tech is putting trap wires over one another. For whatever reason, if two Taffs can place a tripwire over each other, one of them will have a hit priority, which causes the other tripwire to still be active. It's pretty annoying and super useful. The next tech they have is Subspace over Turrets. Personally, I count this as a tech simply because it improves the distraction it gives to the killer. It's too good to just not talk about, so I'll consider this a tech. Basically, if you notice a builderman on your team, you can place a subspace over the turret, which will flashbang the killer, while being slowed by turrets. You can also amp this up by adding a tripwire, which is basically a present filled with pain and suffering. So for that, I'll be putting Taff in C tier. Not a hard tech, but it's still pretty useful. And in terms of being difficult, I'd say B. Simply because if left alone, he can't defend himself, but he does a better job than Builderman. Next up, we got Dusakar. Doesn't have any techs, and in terms of difficulty, I put him in B. Wow, I said beer. What? Beer? What the? Beer? I put him in B, simply because he can be really good if your teammates are good, but if not, he crumbles really hard. Isn't much to say about him. Moving on, next up we got Veronica. V is an interesting case in terms of techs. Before she got nerfed, her techs were pretty vast and had a lot of cool tricks she can do, but in her current state, she doesn't retain too many of her techs. She does have a tech where she can jump on a different spot, almost like Eggman's double jump in Outcome Memories, which is difficult, but not too difficult. Honestly, besides that, her techs are bug abusing, which has already been patched, so I would have to put her in B. But because of her nerfs, she gets put in C in techs. And for being difficult, she's definitely a B. You do have to plan out her graffiti spots, but if it all gets destroyed, she's basically just a piece of scrap. And kind of just falls off. So being able to stay on your toes and to know when to use skate is important. And finally, the last character in the roster as of now is Chance. Chance has one tech, and it's pretty funny and almost reliable tech, and that's... Okay. I don't even know what to call it, and I didn't find anybody having a name for it, so I'll just call it a propeller shot. Using this tech on a slope will cause killers to essentially get flanked farther than V and Guess charge by a long shot. The two cons is obviously you take damage from it, but of course it's in character for him that this tech is a chance. You gotta gamble the fact that you're on a slope and that your gun explodes. Not a hard tech on paper, but the fact that it's by chance definitely deserves an A tier, simply because it's by chance. And in terms of difficulty of the character, Chance is pretty easy to play, but it is a bit hard to land shots, so he'll get put into B tier. Well, that was every Survivor in Forsaken. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. Again, it helps a small creator like me. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.